Well, hot diggity dang, it's the odds of March, and this whole daylight saving thing is killing me. It's 10 p.m. Pacific, and I'm drinking coffee because I'm an old man. Welcome to What's Up, Flobo After Hours. This is where we hang out in the treehouse with people who are doing things, who are moving and shaking and all that jazz. I want to thank everyone watching live and listening live on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Twitch. You are going to have a grand old time. In the meantime, if you're not on those networks, you should be, especially if you're not Twitter, like me and follow. The whole chat's coming in. Haywood Wong, Sherman's in the house. We're just having a great. Kristen Marie, what's going on? Questions for my guests would be greatly appreciated in that chat below. Now, if you guys are a fan of the other shows in the New Amsterdam Entertainment Network, because you should be, at newamsterdam.com. You know, my recent guest was on an episode of New Amsterdam Radio. She is doing big things, helping the world to read one book at a time. So many different hyphens. We're going to go through each and every one of them. And she's a host of what? Not one, not two, but 3 podcasts and counting. In fact, she is on the line now from her business trip halfway across the country. In fact, it's actually 1 o'clock local time over there. She's up there later than I am. I'm complaining about coffee, and she's making it happen. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jovanna Schlossenberg.
Hi. Thank you for having me, Flobo. I really appreciate it.
The pleasure's all mine. So, for real talk, what time is it locally over there?
Locally, it is 1:02 a.m.
1:02. That's crazy. Shout out to Luap. What's going on? Dylan, what's going on? Sherman and Kirsten Marie, we're having a good time. Now, what is that in your hand? I saw it. You're eager to show it. What is it? Show me.
These are my promotional cards for my children's book series, JoJo Knows. It is a tri-level learning book series that has 25 different titles. 3 of them are already published. JoJo Knows Cooking is the 3rd of the series. It released in December of 2020. It's available on Amazon, on Barnes & Noble, on our website, JoJoKnows.xyz. We're having a lot of fun with the book series, so I appreciate it.
That's a lot. Okay. So I'm all about that. I'm all about kids reading the stuff because, frankly, when I was a kid, I used to be behind the English class because I read too fast. I would read so fast and I'd be bored that my teachers would be like, yo, challenge them. So I got into Archie comics, right? So I'm all about teaching the kids how to read, but like, I don't know, maybe some kids don't want to read. Why are you putting on yourself to go on this journey, state by state, line by line, book by book, to get kids a book of learning?
Because I was doing some research. One of the book sets I grew up reading was the Highlights Foundation. You know, you get the magazine and you have to find the character, find the word search. And I looked forward to those things every week and every month. And as I was assisting and helping raising my stepson, I realized I didn't have anything like that to pass down to him. So I started to think I wanted to create a children's book series that not only his generation could connect to, but the generation after that, almost like a rebirth of book reading. Yeah.
Okay. I like that part too. But the book is called JoJo Knows, and you're a Jovanna, and you're telling me, and you're just like, this is a coincidence, a coinky-dink that this stars.
Well, in a book, there's something called the protagonist character, and that's your main character. And the one thing you are not supposed to do in a children's book is have an adult be the main character.
Right.
I didn't know that when I was researching. So I took the whole premise and I based it off of myself because they're autobiographies of our family. So I am the main character, which is a little odd because they say children want to be able to look up to someone that they trust. And a lot of children have problems trusting adults. So I thought this was a great way to show them that there are adults you can trust who care about you. This is their point of view. We mess up too, but this is how we correct it. We ask questions. We rely on our friends and our family members. So I wanted to bring that all the way down and write it in kind of a kids book voice, a children's book voice.
Yeah, I gotcha. Like asking questions. When I was a kid, I was into like Bill Nye the Science Guy and Kai. They're not books, I know, but I'm just saying. I was into like Bill Nye the Science Guy and Caillou, and they're always asking questions. There was even that. I mean, there's actually a show that was in Australia called Bananas in Pajamas. That was my jam. But these talking bananas, you just got into all kinds of shenanigans. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I used to watch Bill Nye the Science Guy, and we used to watch Carmen Sandiego. We used to watch anything that had to do with learning and fun. There's a way to combine both, and so I hope that this children's book series is my contribution to literacy and learning and fun.
So people always say this, like, Carmen Sandiego is one of my first crushes of all time. She's so mysterious. She travels the world. She steals my heart and everything else in it. So big respect for that. We'll talk about JoJo more in just a second. But like, what's going on right now? Are you on a business trip for your day job, for the writing side? Like, what are you doing up traveling the world like a super spy, like James Bond style?
Right. So, fortunate enough, we have an event this upcoming week at the Barnes & Noble in Kansas City. And so sometimes to do some promotion from that, I have some contacts throughout the country that will let me come, and I'll do like a reading in their bookstore or just kind of do some promoting. So I tapped one of my contacts in the East Coast, and I'll be able to be on her podcast as a guest, but it's a live podcast. So it kind of helps bring promotion, and these are all of the, how you plant all those seeds as you're growing your business and your entrepreneurship. And you get to this point where you are able to call in and answer and tap people like, hey, I got this going on. Do you mind if you help bring me some awareness? And so a lot of people have a lot of different platforms that they're willing to share their audience, just like you with the after hours, And so I've got Cleveland here. I'll be in Phoenix on Thursday. And then next week I'll be in Atlanta.
Okay, so what is this about? Like, I understand, when you're going, put the word out there, spread the joy, but like the 2021, the travel restrictions, everyone's going virtual, kids at home in school, and you're just taking the books to the kids. Like, I'm gonna fight through all kind of pandemic. I'm gonna show up. Y'all gonna read these books, y'all. Like, what was the behind that?
No, what it is behind that is I'm actually calling in my affiliates. Like a lot of the organizations we work with are charity organizations, and so they have distribution warehouses. So like next week, I'll be going to one of the distribution warehouses that kids need to read. And so this is actually the journey of where the book goes after the book is donated through our youth program. So I'm actually going around to the different organizations in the country that have allowed us to connect with them and visiting them, going with their distribution centers, meeting the managers, meeting the staff, because it's a whole thing about the journey of the book. I have this theory that I do not think people mind giving, helping out. They just want to see the rest of the process. So with this part of it, with traveling to the different nonprofits that receive the books, I'm able to be a part of this journey. I get to meet the staff, how it's going to be received. We get to discuss how the books will be intercepted and how they'll be disseminated. So it's fun for me. It's like the fun part of, there's working on the business and working in the business. And this is kind of me working on the business.
And then you're based in Kansas City, correct?
Based out of Kansas City, correct.
So there's a question I always ask, like how do you describe for someone who's outside that area, the difference between Kansas City, Missouri and Kansas City, Kansas? It's like, how dare you? I'm just asking a question.
Well, I say that because KCK and KC, Missouri, we're literally divided by a state line. So I live about 25 minutes from that state line. So as we're on the phone and conversating, if I were home, I could get in my car, drive, and show you KCK and Kansas City, Missouri. Like, this is Kansas City, Missouri. This is KCK. But as far as the culture and the atmosphere, KCK, from my research, they're a smaller city, and Kansas City actually grew around them to become Kansas City, and they outgrew them by population. So Kansas City is just more of a bigger population, a little more thriving, and KCK is just kind of right over the border, but there's just a difference with population and a little bit of culture, but not too much.
So how would we describe the vibe then? Like if I didn't know about any of the Kansas cities and I need to know which one do I visit, you tell me Kansas City, Missouri is better for this, and this is better for Kansas City, Kansas.
So I'd say Kansas City, Missouri is better for like raising your family, entertainment. You want to get out, you want to see a couple of museums, you maybe want to go to a sporting event. And KCK is more if you want to kind of move out of the city and kind of a. It's hard to describe KCK.
Yeah.
It's kind of like LA versus like
Oh, same
Shanghai.
here.
It's like it's right there, but it's completely different. It's like 20
Gotcha.
minutes away, but there are a world of difference anyway. No disrespect to my KCK.
I didn't watch it right now. Well, they're probably in bed right now, but they will be watching right now, being like,
Exactly. I'm still getting used to these interwebs, so I don't
oh,
want to get cracked before I even get started. So,
it'd be funny. It'd be like a heat map. The whole country loves you except for one city in
oh yeah,
Kansas.
oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
So are you pro or anti Patrick Mahomes?
Oh my gosh, I'm so pro Patrick Mahomes. I'm so excited how much he's taken to the city. And I was trying to explain to my stepson about how truly significant him being in our city is. I'm like, when we go out and we go to the grocery store or we go to different things in Kansas City, he's now a part of our community. He's a part of our city. That he's a owner of the KC Royals now, and so
Oh, whoa.
yeah, he took some of his contract money and he invested it into the Kansas City Royals. So I mean, he is with us for life. I mean, he's with us with football, with baseball, because his dad, Patrick Mahomes Sr., was a baseball player, and so
For the Mets, baby. Yeah.
oh, look at that! Yay!
Pro
So
Mahomes.
right, so he comes from a sporting background. So we just have so much respect for him. Him and his fiance Brittany, they've been so welcoming to the community. Brittany, she's really into animal rescue, so they have the animal rescue they put down, but they started those things like 2 and 3 years ago when they got here. The cool thing about the Mahomes family is they're very transparent, they're very vocal, they're very nice, very welcoming, just like we like in Kansas City. So it's been a great experience. We were fortunate enough, me and my husband, to be at the Chiefs game when he first stepped on the field
Yeah.
a few years ago, and since then it's just been a journey. And glad to be a part of it. It's been a whirlwind.
Yeah.
Got to watch him play at the Super Bowl. That was
Oh,
awesome.
okay. That's what's up. I was actually rooting for Mahomes. Like, I'm not a Brady hater, but like because of the Mets connection, I was like, come on, brother. What are you doing? Patrick. I got a question from Sherman. He says,
oh yeah,
what was your favorite subject in school?
reading.
What?
I read all the time. I was an avid reader. I would my favorite part of the day was sustained silent reading time, because that was the only time the kids were quiet. They actually listened. It was right after recess. My third grade teacher, Miss Leslie, she would sit us down and we'd all go, and I'd go right for Family Circus, Bernstein Bears, Ramona Quimbley, and then when the hour was up, I'd get kind of sad because I still wanted to read.
Yeah.
So,
were they pulling you away? Like, no.
oh yeah, I'd go really slow and put my book back and kind of slug to the desk, and I was obsessed with reading. Once I opened that book, it was I couldn't hear anything around me. I was completely encapsulated. I hope I said that right.
No, but was it like me where like I read, but when the Scholastic Book Fair came to town, it popped off. Got your little tickets, you got your little money dollars in your envelope.
You got your tickets, you got your money, you got the magazine. I used to circle what I wanted and leave it on the table so my mom would know how much money I needed for the Scholastic, but the whole thing would be read. So we had this thing where I just got to pick out 3, but that was so hard because sometimes you get like the October edition and it had the cool Halloween books, and I was like, this is too much. All of these books.
Oh man, I felt like such a G. When Mom gave me the envelope, she was like, all right. It was all psychological too, because you walked in there like, yo, we're going to the book fair, yo, we're going to roll deep. We're
going deep. No, all of those feelings, that is exactly how I hope that the series does to this generation. Unfortunately, there's a big decline in reading after 4th grade. So part of the tri-level book reading is to start to encourage reading at a younger age. Each book breaks down into 3 different levels. There's a board book for a newborn to 4-year-old. There's a picture book for a 5 to 7-year-old. And then there's an early reader book for an 8 to 10-year-old. So as your 5 to 7-year-old grows, they're not so surprised by the reading and retention factor. They're used to the little activities where they say find the heart, because in each book there's a heart on my favorite page. So I know it means it's my favorite. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying for it not to be such a shock. I think about, let's say the JoJo Knows series was already in effect before the pandemic happened, and we had a way for children to be at home with a fun learning book to where at the back they would be able to find exercises that they could read and retain. So as
Yeah.
we're working from home, learning from home, and we're really having to be more on our own independently, it would have been nice to have this collection out there for people to connect with. But that's why
Yeah.
I'm in like this power force. I'm so tired of being stagnant when it comes to the message. So I want to get out there, be present. All the contacts that were built, I want to be like, hey, it's time. How can you help me? Because I never ask for anything. It's so
Right.
hard to be like, I want this, I want that. But with reading, I allow myself to be selfish, as I call it. I allow myself to ask, can I come there? Can I read? Can I donate? So
Yeah.
it's just beginning. I'm ready. I'm pumped.
So again, it's not just a book or book series, it's a book system that you can grow with it. So the question I have for you is this. Someone hears the pitch, and I guess to lack of a better word, a pitch, and they're going to throw a billion and one reasons why they're not interested. Like, what keeps you going to be like, you know what, you will be. These kids need me. You know?
It has to do with so I'm a big fan of the arts. I like opera, and I'm a big fan of Phantom of the Opera. And I was watching. I read Phantom of the Opera. I listened to it, and I was watching the Today Show almost 15 or 20 years ago. And the lead singer of Phantom of the Opera, he goes, every single night I go out there, and I don't care who's out there, but if I affected one person, I did my job. And I thought about how one day I'm going to go to New York and I'm going to be in that audience and I want to hear Phantom of the Opera. And for him to be on stage and not give it his all because he had been doing it so much would have affected me. I am that one person in the crowd where I appreciate you showing up and giving me your all. So with the books, all the no's I'm getting, I don't care. There's
Yeah.
one child, there's one school that will read this and it will change them for the rest of their life, and that could be the course that is needed to bring awareness. So I don't care about the no's, I just need one yes. So I'm fine with it.
Okay, so for those of you who are just joining us, I'm hanging with Jovanna Schlossenberg, who A, travels in the middle of the night, B, doesn't sleep, and is a tireless advocate for kids to read. So the question I have for you is, where do you find the time? You said you have a stepson. Where do you find the time to actually write the books? Like, what do you, on planes? On trains? In the
No,
mornings,
so
at nights?
I'm kind of an interesting writer. I write my books backwards. So I take a blank book, and a children's book is about 32 pages. So I have a set of about 100 blank books that I travel with. And as I start to be very motivated, inspired, I'll kind of start walking around, like pacing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I feel like I want to write. I can kind of start to get excited. And then I just open the book page by page and the story starts to come out. So
Yeah.
I'll draw it and then I'll write it. So usually my writing happens right about now, like between 1 and 4 a.m. is when I start to write all the time. This is when I'm, there's a word called crepuscular. It means you operate better in the dawn. Your brain and how you move makes more sense kind of when people are at rest. And that's me. Like when we conclude, I'll go finish up some of
What
the
was the
other
word? I'm sorry. What was the word again?
crepuscular.
I looked that up.
Okay, crespescular. Crepuscular.
Okay.
So it's a really fun word. I found it when I was like, what is wrong with me? Because I'm not nocturnal. That's
Right.
not it. But there's something that I'm energized and activated right about now. And then I'll like pass out. Like I'll like I have like a mark on the middle of my head for how much I've dropped the phone on my face from like,
Right.
trying to finish up something at my face, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to go to sleep. Like,
Right. It's like 6 a.m. I still got this. Yeah. Crepuscular.
Crepuscular.
I mean, I'm not going to say you made it up, but I just sound instantly smarter by saying that.
I
Crepuscular.
didn't make it up. That's why I spelled it, because I knew I was going to get some heat for that.
For me, never.
Yeah, it's a very real word, and it makes so much sense. It just does. And on the plane, I get a lot of sleep on the plane because my phone isn't on. So a lot of times I'll just I got a little pillow that I attach, and I'll just look in there and pass on out. No problem.
What time do you normally sleep then? Like in the morning?
I normally sleep between 2 and 6 ish. If I'm not
Oh,
writing,
okay.
if I'm not writing, it's between 2 and 6. But I write a lot on Wednesdays. So what'll happen is Tuesday between 1 and 4, I'll feel like I want to write, but then I'll kind of slow down and go to sleep. All of a sudden Wednesday, I can feel it. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna finish that project. I'm gonna write that copy. I'm gonna write my intro, my outro, and then boom, like magic. It's Wednesday about 11 or 12, and I gear up and I write Wednesdays and Sundays. But in between there, it's like I'm just kind of gearing up for this fight. Like in those 2 days, like what am I gonna write about? And then I write.
Wait, hold on. Now I've been on this planet long enough to know that I'm smart enough to never ask a woman her age. But it's safe to assume you're over the age of 18. So the question I have is, where do you find the energy then? Because I'm drinking coffee at 10 o'clock, and after this I'm going to bed. But it's apparently one where you are. You're like, yeah, man, reading's fundamental. How do you do that? Like how?
I'm telling you, reading and talking about books and entertainment and connecting with you and platforms, that gets me excited. Like to think that the world is shifting to where, you've got an audience that's listening to this message. It's late night, but people will hear this all around the world where it's 1 a.m. for us. I have a friend in Japan and it's, I don't know, 8 hours ahead. So I count my fingers. 2, 3, 4.
No
5.
shame over here, y'all. No shame at all.
Yeah. So it's like 9 or 10 in the morning, and I love the fact that everyone can work. Also, I work with a lot of freelancers. So I work on Fever and Upwork and People Per Hour a lot, and a lot of my freelancers are across the pond, as I would like to say. I work with people. My clinical logistics operator DJ, he lives in Pakistan. My illustrator Millie, she lives in England. Sophie, my editor, lives in Sophie lives in South Africa. I mean, so while they're awake during the day and my crepuscularness, now we may be getting into some made up words. My crepuscular,
I accept them all. That's cool.
Thank you. My crepuscularness works well because I'm sitting here giving them emails and they're awake during their day. So when I wake up during the day, I have everything I need from Millie, my illustrator, Millie McNeil, from DJ. So it just works in this clock of production. I love it. I get up, I'm able to see my emails, get those done, and then start my day.
So just a little dip into the chat there. Mark, like me, is saying it's 10:21 in LA. I'm already calling a day. Me too, brother. It is 10:21 p.m. local. And Sherman says he's in the Nashville area and it's Central Time, a little bit after midnight. And props for staying up, man. I know. I never slept that. When I was sermons age, I never slept. Sermons in high school, I never slept then. But now I feel it. Oh, that sleep I missed. It was like, are you? I heard, and you don't have to talk about this if you don't want to, that you are a purveyor of the caffeinated arts. What is your caffeinated beverage of choice?
Oh, probably a Red Bull and vodka. Is that what
okay?
I hope.
Loaded.
But yeah, and I definitely like Red Bull and vodka because I think it's like the perfect combination. Like you get energy and then you get that kick, and all of a sudden it's like you feel your Red Bull kick in. It's a great experience. The first time I had a Red Bull vodka, I thought it's the best thing ever. Assuming that's what you meant by caffeinated drink. Otherwise, the answer is a Coke.
As long as it's caffeine in Red Bull, I think you're fine. I think it totally counts. Again,
caffeinated. Oh, I guess caffeinated would be Red Bull. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, there's no judgments here. I don't. It's look. I have a neon moon. There's no judgments here. It's totally. Fun.
The one thing I don't drink is coffee.
Why not? I'm just curious.
I have a lot of natural energy. I drank coffee one time at work, and it was literally, I was like wanting to hug coworkers. It's like everything stopped, and I looked around the room, and I was like picking people. I wanted to hug her, talk to her, and then I saw this pillar, and I wanted to go hurdle it and turn around and talk to everybody. It felt like an action movie. I go,
yeah, what? You went to bullet time. You turned to the Flash, basically. You just everything slow down. That's crazy.
It was in 2007. I remember. I was like,
it was a Thursday morning.
It's like, what's the big deal about this coffee? So trying to be all professional, and I drank. I was like, okay. And I felt this like ka-cum, like this tick. I could feel my heart starting to speed up, and I'm like, what is that? What is going on? And then boom, I was just like, no.
It sounds to me you had like super soldier serum. Like Captain
Yeah.
America was like, yo, pass this to Jovanna. She's
Yeah.
cool.
I said,
Wow.
I'm already kind of a lot. So in the morning, I could be even more like these people don't deserve that. I don't need no caffeine. I am good. This is not good for me. But that's held true. I still don't drink coffee to date. I don't drink coffee.
I drink coffee by the gallon. I gave up sugar for Lent, so I don't have many options.
Yeah. To be honest, can I ask you a question?
On my show, how dare you? No, I'm just kidding. What's up?
What is Lent? So some of my family practices Catholicism. My uncle in particular, and every around March or April, he'll be like, "I can't have chocolate. I can't eat burgers." I'm like, so.
Yeah. In the good book, is the fact that you can't eat burgers. That's actually written. So in the period before, this is getting real in the weeds of things, because my parents, for those who know or don't know, my mom is Pentecostal. So she doesn't celebrate it. It tends to be very Catholic, or in my dad's case, Anglican or Episcopal. There is a 40-day period, and this is why they celebrate Mardi Gras, because the last Tuesday you can go ham with it. When Jesus went off to handle his business because he knew he was going to be crucified, basically. This is the hood version. He knew people were looking at him. There was some haters out there, bro. So 40 days took to himself. It was one of nature. And right before he was crucified, basically, that period of 40 days, we tend to sacrifice something that we cannot live without, much like how Jesus sacrificed. I am the worst Christian to ask that question. That's where the answer you got is what you got. But I can tell you, growing up, we would say, well, what's the thing that's most important to you? And I must have a sweet tooth, you know what I mean? Or there were some years where I didn't swear, or I gave up Red Bull for that period, because the idea you're supposed to do without and be one with self and sacrifice how Jesus did. So.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I've understood it that it's a sacrifice. But one of my friends is of religion where they don't eat for a while. Like they have to wake up and pray in the morning, and they don't eat. They're like fasting. So I didn't know if it was kind of like that, but it sounds like it's like, while you're not eating your candy, you should be focusing on other things.
Lenting is not necessarily a fasting holiday, but because of, say, Mardi Gras influx in the United States, and everyone's trying to find a cheap way to lose weight, everyone kind of goes to food. Like, I'm not going to eat chocolate because Jesus said so. It's not. It's not really a thing like that. But it's like you could give up whatever, like wherever you feel is something you're connection to. Well, but that's all you're going to get from me, because I'm not really that religious.
Well, what? How long is it over? When's it stop?
It's a 40-day period, so I think it in this case like the 4th, and Easter's the week after. But it's 40 nights from Ash Wednesday, which is the day after Mardi Gras, because Mardi Gras means Fat Tuesday in French, which is a feasting day, and Mardi Gras means Fat Tuesday in French. It's basically like a day of debauchery, if you want to, and Ash Wednesday, which is the last week of February, and it's 40 nights after that. And
so we're in it. It's happening. It's happening right now.
We passed the halfway mark, man. I'm looking at donuts like, yo, you gonna have a talk after this. But yeah.
How's it going? That's cool.
So yeah, I have given up sugar because I I currently do a lot of the full cal or some of the sugar replacement rock stars. I'm a rock star guy. But then I was like, it's too sweet. It reminds me of what sugar would be. And so I kind of put that in there. So I've been drinking coffee. Cheating. To me, it did. I felt like a giant loophole. You don't want to loophole Jesus, man. He'll find out. It's like a zombie film. It will take his time, but Jesus always knows what you're doing. So I just kept it.
I agree. No, I sometimes I feel like I want to participate, just like as a participant. Like I want to get like something.
Is that a 5K, Jovanna? You don't have to.
Well, I'll be like, my uncle will be like, oh, I can't do that. I gave it up late, and I'm like, that's probably why I don't do it. I can't think of anything I want to give up for 40 days. So it's probably why Lent skipped over me. But I don't know. I guess I could give up if I were to participate or to play. I would give up maybe like, I don't know. I have to get back with you. Maybe next year I'll do it.
Well, yeah. Sometimes you'll see people do it in solidarity, especially in families, especially mixed faith couples, where it's like, well, I don't do that and whatever. I know a friend where one is Catholic and one is Jewish, so they fast together for Lent and for Yom Kippur as a kind of like a solidarity thing throughout the year. So Yom Kippur is obviously different, but
well, that's good. I like to be versed in all forms of religion. I like theology. I like reading. I've read everything I could pretty much get my hands on. I like to read manuals and If it's in black and white print, I want to see what it's about because I don't know. I like.
Well, I mean, this is after hours, so I can say this. So if you're under 18, cover your ears, y'all. You can really judge the strength of any kind of civilization. I mean, it's about me, but you can make it by its sperm, and by that I mean socio-political, economic, religious, and military. And a lot of times, what religions are, the differences and similarities of that is really how you can determine the strength of a civilization. So, like most religions do have a period of reflection or ancestor, like understand or acknowledgement or some sort of atonement, that kind of thing. There kind of are on those planar lines, but that's kind of show. That's way too smart for me. I'm just
no. But I'll just piggyback a little bit on that. You do have some validity. I just read about the 1960 presidential election with President Kennedy, and it was a big deal because he was our first president to be of Catholic faith. And the biggest thing that was going around about that and why it was such an issue was that I guess Catholics have the confession booth, and so people were like, we go out at night doing our political thing and we hang out with Kennedy, and then he goes in on Sunday and tells our business to the booth. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
You think it's time you go drop a mixtape? I'm in the booth, y'all. It's me and my. I got you.
I don't know.
It was a big thing.
Confessional is the word I was looking for. So they're like, but that was why it had to do with telling of, in this faith, you do this and tell your sins, and I don't want to be a part of it. So you saying it shapes a culture or it shapes a society, that's what you're talking about. I understand what you're talking about. People are making decisions based off of other things. So.
Yeah, Kennedy was a little different also because in Catholicism, the Pope's on top. The Pope is actually head of state. So a lot of people who were totally ignorant were afraid that the Pope will have influence in the country. But different times. Racism and anti-religious stuff is done. We passed that, y'all, in this country. Question for you. It's over, y'all. We all love each other equally.
We did it.
Question I have for you. I was perusing your Instagram, and turns out you met Toni Braxton. Tell me more.
Yes. So on 2016, my husband got me tickets to Toni Braxton for my birthday, but we got like front row, backstage passes. This was badass. You're not going to hear me curse a lot, but this was badass. I mean,
you're allowed here.
Oh, okay, good. I'm sorry. Used to be in my other world, but yeah. So we got to actually go behind the scenes. We got to do a meet and greet. We got to meet her. She was amazing. I did I fangirled out. I started crying just right there on spot. The minute I seen her, like I've been listening to her since I was 12 years old. So to see her like 15, it was insane. It was way too much for me. But she was super nice, sweet, personable. I mean, when she got on stage, it was mesmerizing. It was one of the best nights of my life. It was great.
Toni was a childhood hero?
Yes. So I grew up listening to Toni Braxton. In 1992, another sad love song. I would go and get the soundtrack to, oh gosh, what was it? Boomerang. Her and her Babyface album. Her and Babyface just won another Grammy. So
okay, Babyface still making Grammys.
Still winning Grammys. Still, that's what I'm saying. Their influence was so impactful back then. It's so good to see them still around, still making music. So we went to the concert, had great seats, got to see the whole show. It was amazing. So she was really great to me.
I wish for the day I could meet my childhood hero, Tony Danza. But until that day, I have to do without.
What's that Elton John song? Hold me closer, Tony Danza.
Yeah.
My friend thought that he said, "Hold me closer, Tony Danza."
If he'll allow me to, I would. He said he does everything. He's from Brooklyn too. So I'm actually, yeah. Is he? Of course. I'm just kidding. I'm not offended. It's all good. So I'm actually reading this other things you're working on. And it's a long, long list. I'm scrolling for days here, but you're the host of not one, not two, but 3 different podcasts. How do you find the time, and what are they?
So the first podcast is called Getting to Know You. It's where I slow everything down, and if I've met you, I'm pretty sure I want to get to know you a little bit better. And I broke it down into different editions. So we have the Uber edition, we have the celebrity edition, we have the 9 to 5 edition, we have the social edition. I've met some of the most interesting people in my Ubers that you would not believe. I mean, they're like, oh, I used to be an actor. Oh, I used to run a multi-million-dollar company, and now I do this. And did you know Uber pays for my college? And I'm like, I've got to start getting this recorded. It wasn't fair, the amount of amazing people I was meeting with these stories that I couldn't share. Fortunate enough, I understand podcasts and the technical side, how to connect. So to have a platform to share these people I was meeting stories is what podcasting was all about. So I was having an issue because I was meeting people, but they weren't fitting into getting to know you. So I was like, okay, I started my Behind the Bind. Behind the Bind is where I take a closer look at the author behind the book. So I'm able to see how you got to that book, the writing process. It's thick, it's intimate, it's personal, it's fun. I want to see how you got there, your publishing, how you were inspired by the book. And then we have Wonderful World of Bookstores. So I've visited over 80 bookstores in the past 6 or 7 years, and I've met with the managers, I've taken pictures, videos, gone in depth to how they organize their system. So we slow things down on there, and we take you across the world to visit the different bookstores because they're everywhere and they're amazing. So, and it was my way of encouraging people to get out to go to bookstores.
I mean, that's dedicated to the cause. Because I can't say I was a bookstore person or like a local bookstore. You know, when I was a kid, there was a mall. There was like Walden Books, B. Dalton, I think there was one, and Barnes and Noble, of course, now. But yeah, I guess being an adult, I realized there's a whole other swath of like bookstores.
There's a whole other slab of bookstores, and also they're very intimate now. Like when you walk in a bookstore, you're really able to kind of go towards your own liking. Like my husband, we went to Springfield, Missouri, and we walked into like a little small ABC Books, very quiet and quaint. The minute we get there, they've got this amazing Missouri history section. So my husband immediately goes off and looks at the Missouri history, getting, all about the state. And of course I go over to American history and my genres, but they're not what you think. I think bookstores used to come across more librarian-like, like you walk in, it's that kind of flat look and it's like a Dewey Decimal System feel, but they're not like that anymore. One of the companies that work with a lot of bookstores, they're called Out of Print. They're this company that they've got mugs and socks and little tablets and pens. So, you've got your novelty section, changing hands bookstores in Mesa, Phoenix, Glendale, Arizona. They've got a bar in the back of their bookstore. They've got a bar and they've got a fireplace. They've got a dance. But I'm telling you, I went in there. I was like, is this happening? And
Honey, what are you doing? I'm reading.
Pretty much. Well, first of all, it took me 20 minutes to set up for my Instagram post that I wanted to do. So as I should have been reading, I'm all setting up this glass and this book with this fireplace. I'm like, the 30 minutes I had in here, I'm taking it to set up for my Instagram.
Wow.
But that's a testament to their atmosphere. They've got this atmosphere that's welcoming, that allows you this space that you feel like you want to share on a social level. So they're just different now. And I want people to, the slogan for the bookstore is get up, get out, and get a book, which was going great until the pandemic. I had this whole slogan going. I was like motivating people to read, going to different bookstores. I was participating in Bookstore of the Month. And like the rest of the country, it just came to a halt. Yeah. But the thing is, you got to keep going. So throughout that whole thing, we're still figuring out how we make sense inside the book world. So.
And so, speaking of travels, you had told me recently you visited the house that will appearing in the movie A Christmas Story.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you reminded me of that. So, oh my gosh, so on my way into the city, on the mat, it has little places or whatever. So it said A Christmas Story house. I go, like the movie Christmas Story? And I was like, I guess I could go by, but I've never seen the movie. So I was like, I'll go. I know.
They beat you over the head with it, though. It plays for a whole day.
I haven't seen Top Gun. I haven't seen a lot of stuff.
That is different. But they play that movie 24 hours, like all day on Christmas Day.
I always come into the part where the little boy's sticking his tongue on the pole, or Ralphie gets the gun, or the fragile leg. I never get to sit down and watch it. So as I'm pulling up, I'm talking to my Uber and I'm like, can you take my picture?
Right.
You take my picture in front of the house. It's like, yeah, I'll take a picture. Why is it all closed down? I couldn't get into the house. I couldn't get into the museum. I had my phone on recording for my TikTok because I've got like 8 followers over there. So
I don't get TikTok either. It's cool. I have no idea how that works. I'm on TikTok, y'all, but I have no idea how it works.
So I'm trying to record this video for my 8 TikTok followers. I got the video recording. I go to open the door. It's locked. I'm like, okay. I go around the place. It's locked. It's going to shit. It's happening. Everything's going south. I
Yeah.
can't get this guy on the street. He's like, do you want me to take your picture? I'm like, yes, please. So he takes my picture, and then he's all starting to tell me some background. I'm like, oh, sir, do you care if I record this? I've got a podcast, and I'm probably going to do a feature. He's like, oh, yeah. So he starts, I got to make sure I don't hit my hand. I'm really clumsy. He starts demonstrating this scene, and he goes, right over there, Ralphie's little brother, he's all bundled up for the snow, and he has his arms out, and it's like he can't move, and he falls right there. So I walk over with my film trying to figure it out. In my head, it was supposed to be this welcome to the Christmas Story house, and I open the door and take everybody up the stairs, but nope, none of that.
Just real quick, Mark says, me neither. I have 4 followers on TikTok. I don't get TikTok at all. I'm not that kind of comedian. But here's a question though. You haven't seen Christmas Story, not judging anyone, because a lot of big famous movies I haven't seen, and I went to film school, unfortunately. But after going to the house, would you not go, check this movie out now? Or you're just kind of like, I'm over it?
Well, actually, I was like, I think I probably need to watch this movie before I talk about it. So I was going to watch it today, but I was like, I'll just do a follow-up. So
Well, there was a Christmas Story, which is famous. It was a cult movie. I liked it because no one really knew what it was for a long time. And then TNT got it and they played it every year. So it's kind of overexposed. But there's also a sequel called My Summer Story, which takes place in the summertime about a couple of years later with a different cast. That's even more of a hidden, almost like gem, but like a hidden sequel.
Do you know the brother's name?
Not off the top of my head. I have to look it up.
The guy didn't either. I was like, I know Ralphie, and then they had a gift shop. Oh, this is so funny. So my amateur recording, and when I say amateur, my phone's probably gonna die before this is over and mess the whole podcast up. I'm so horrible sometimes. So my amateur recording, the only thing I can record in the gift shop is that fragile leg or that lamp.
Yeah,
so
fragile.
I think I might have got some good footage. I don't know because I haven't seen the movie, but I'm excited to basically, hey, I went to a Christmas Story house, but didn't really get to go in, and I haven't seen the movie. But here's me standing in front of the house, perpetrating.
The bravery, because I feel like if I hadn't seen it, I'd been like, oh, there's a house. But you're like, let's go investigate something I haven't seen before.
My 8 followers deserve more. They deserve when I am out here in these streets advocating for reading, and I come across history, it is my job to be present. They had something called rallies in diagonal of the house. So I'm sitting here at the house, and I take my phone and I'm recording the cross streets. I'm like, maybe this is in the movie. And I record around the house. I'm like, maybe this is in the movie. I have no idea what I'm doing. So I walk into rallies, and everybody's now, they don't give you a menu. They're all download my QR code, which I don't understand what to do. I'll take the QR code and I'll just took my phone to it. I don't know what's supposed to happen now. So I'm like, can I get a menu? They're like, oh, yeah, we still have menus, but so it's a whole experience.
I gotta go to the chat here. Mark says, respect. Haywood goes, that is dedication, which I am inclined to agree. Jovanna, I can't imagine doing that, but you did it in spades.
I did do it, and I'm excited. I'm glad I got to see it. And now when I see the movie, I'm going to be like, damn it, I should have did this. And if I just would have took a left, I would have seen this. And so I'm excited that I got to at least take some pictures of the house. So can I ask your listeners in the chat to follow me on TikTok so they can see my post? Will they do,
yeah.
do they do that?
Yeah,
do they follow your bets?
If you want to make 8 to 14 or 16, you can. What is your TikTok handle?
It's JoJo Knows series, JoJoKnows.xyz. And I tried to change that today, and I couldn't figure it out. So
now I know why that guy was taking your photograph. Hey, can I take a photograph? All right, I'll do it. But yes, JoJo Knows series on TikTok, and when you're there, hit up Flobo Boyce on TikTok.
Yes.
But Jovanna, before we get out of here, though, do you want to play a game?
Yes, I'd love to.
Yeah, baby. This one here is called True or False. Okay. I want to say a couple of statements. You tell me whether I'm saying is true, false, and why.
Okay.
Cool. 9 of them. If you can do more or less, it's up to you, but 9 of them.
Okay.
Number 1, True or false? I consider myself an avid dancer.
True.
There's hesitation there. True.
True.
Are
True,
are you
because I can't dance, but I love to do it. Like I'm slightly rhythmically challenged, but I can kind of a
a
little
little two
bit, but
step?
a little bit, but sometimes it gets a little off, like right now. But I still
Okay.
like to do it. So the
Yeah, there's
answer
no
is
beat playing. You can't be off. There's no beat. It's totally fine. I'll let you do
yeah.
one of these, right?
Oh, I was on my way.
Two. I didn't root for him in the last Super Bowl, but you can't deny Tom Brady's the GOAT.
True, hands down.
Ooh.
Much respect.
Ooh.
I
Whoa.
I watch Pat McAfee's show. I watch well, just Pat McAfee now, but I've been watching football and analysts, and everyone says at the end of the day, that's a good dude. He's respectful. He calls you back. He takes care of family. That I like, because the game is one thing. You play that on the field. But who you are after the field is a big deal. So I feel like, if I were ever in a room with him, if I'm ever in some kind of room with him, I feel like he would be like a cool dude, working my way towards those circles.
I beat Tom Brady. Like, hey, have you seen Christmas Story? Like, yes, I have.
Probably.
Number three, I am not the best cook, but there is one dish that I make that people absolutely love. True or false?
True. I can make lasagna.
Ooh, so my mom. That's it. That's
I can make
that one dish.
that one dish from my friend. She taught me how. My friend Jen.
Curious, is it classic lasagna or is it like vegan meat? Is it no bake? Like what's the?
It's classic. I do the meat. I do like a meat mixture. So I have to do like the sour cream, the green onions, the onions, and then I have to mix in the ricotta. Then I do my layers of the noodle and the sauce, and then the meat mixture, and it goes 4 deep in our big red pan. I can do lasagna, and I did it for 50 people. When you could cook for more than 5 people, you got something. So
Yeah, that's why when there's ever a potluck, I'm like, I'll bring the napkins. Yes, I'm that guy. I am totally that guy. Bachelor life, y'all. 4. It's cool now, but when I was younger, I was a total nerd. True or false?
true. Ooh,
True.
I don't know,
Gotta say
because
like Drew Hill now. What's up?
I don't know. I guess I was a nerd, but I don't know if I knew I was a nerd. I got along well with others. I love teachers. I love raising my hand and participating. I liked sitting in the front of the class. I liked helping out. I liked cleaning up before and after events. So yeah, I probably was a nerd. Oh,
That's all
how
good.
like when it's like kickball time and all the kids run to the front, I'd stay back. Kind of, I
Yeah.
didn't mind it. Oh, y'all doing too much. I kind of fall back a little bit. And,
Y'all do it too much. I sweat all the time. So yes, that was always too much for me. 5, you don't have to agree to this. It's a kind of a trick question. But
Okay.
5, it's true what they say. 40 is the new 25. True or false?
Absolutely true. I thought about that today. So I am 40. I'll be 41 in July. And I was literally thinking today, age has got to be nothing but a number, because I feel phenomenal. I feel great. I feel
Oh, yeah.
great mentally, physically. I am so pumped and ready for every month this year and beyond. Doesn't feel like 40. I remember watching Terry Hatcher on what was it, like Desperate Housewives,
Mhm.
and she had just turned 40 and won like Woman of the Year. She's on all these magazines, and I was like, I'm 27. I got time. I already knew, like, man,
Yeah.
this is nothing but a number. If I do this right, stick to my morals, stick to my standards, have experience, not expect, I will figure this out, and the age won't matter. So 40 is the new 25. I'm pumped. I'm ready.
Before I continue, there's a breakout in the chat because I talked about bringing napkins to a potluck, and Mark is like, getting napkins for a potluck is my go-to. I have no idea to bring. And then Haywood's calling me a heel for bringing napkins. There's nothing wrong with napkins. I'm getting the
Yeah,
good ones.
I want to challenge you to go on and whip something up for that next potluck. You can do it.
The napkins, or I'm buying the pie from the bakery section. Which one do you want? You want the box pie that's lame, or the napkins you're going to use? I'm just saying.
That's actually a good point. When you put it up when you give me that option, I'll take the napkins.
Exactly. Who bought this cake? Who bought this cake? I did. 6. People have told me to my face that I don't look like a Jovanna Schlossenberg. True or false?
True. Yes. When I walk in, the last name really throws them. And my first name's Italian, Jovanna Schlossenberg's German. And then there's me. So somewhere in between there, they're like, hi. They'll do this Like,
Yeah.
oh, and I'm like, hi, nice to meet you. And I'll go, my maiden name's Carter. I
Yeah.
inherited Schlossenberg, and then it kind of makes sense. But yes, I definitely think when I show up, I'm possibly a surprise.
So you're not Italian at all. Your first name's Italian. You're not Italian.
No, I'm named after the cologne Jovan Musk. Um, my
Mm.
dad and my mom said back in the day they didn't care what you were, boy, girl, whatever. That's your kids and your genders. And so if I was a boy, it was going to be Jovan Michael. But as I was a girl, they named me Jovanna Michelle.
I would say this. I grew up in the time in the 90s where like the old cats had that, and it was that perfect mix of sweet with their alcohol and their
Yep,
cigarettes. I don't
yep.
forget that scent.
No, you
Not at
cannot.
all.
No, you cannot.
You're like, I'm over. I hate it now. I hate it. But
I have no comment, but it is definitely interesting. I remember I walked into my local Eckerd drug in '89, and I saw it on the shelf.
Eckerd.
Eckerd, I saw it on the shelf, purchased it for $9.99, smelled it, and go, I don't know if
Yeah, it's like, do my parents not like me? No, I'm just kidding.
no, I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it, but I'm like,
Please don't go.
I was like, man, they did me wrong on that.
It's very distinct, yo. I'm just saying.
Very
Where am I? 7. True or false? I've been known to celebrate the festivities known as St. Patrick's Day. It's this Wednesday. I don't know if you're a fan.
Yes, I started celebrating this weekend. That's why I emailed you back so late. I'm telling you, one of the things I love the most about my husband, we love celebrating, participating at whatever day, St. Patrick's Day. We like getting out there and being a part of the community in a respectful manner, being compliant with all that's going on. But we already started this week. I did a post on one of them social media outlets. We were out and about. So absolutely, I fly home in a couple of days. I'll be back for St. Patrick's Day, and I'm sure we'll definitely partake.
It's a true story. The email I got back, it's like, hey, sorry I'm late. I was respectfully celebrating St. Patrick's Day. We got two more. Okay. 8. True or false? Tonight, I am closer to realizing my dreams than ever before.
Every day I check my email thinking today's the day. Yes, I sent out so many emails about that statement. Every day I wake up, I'm like, did they reply? Is today the day? I absolutely think this is as close as if there's whatever comes after rounding third and actually getting the home plate, let's call it the slide. I'm at the slide. I've rounded third. I got the books out. We've got promotion. I'm connecting with affiliates. It feels good. I'm just waiting on that one little bit right there.
The keystone, wrong top. Ooh.
Yeah, right there.
And finally, true or false? Pineapple on pizza is A-okay.
Actually, accidentally today on my margarita pizza, there was pineapple. And as I bit, I thought to myself, it's not too bad. So I think prior to 5 hours ago, I'd been like, no, I don't want to hold my pizza. But today I coincidentally had it because it was slid in there under some mozzarella. And it's actually pretty good. It did a nice little flavor palette.
It sounds to me like the big pineapple is just infiltrating pizza shops and sprinkling
pineapple. Something's going on because I took a bite and I was like, what is that?
A margarita's not even close to a pineapple pizza. I like pineapple, but it's like two different styles. Like someone totally was like,
yeah, maybe it might have. Who knows what kind of pizza I have, but there was some pineapple on it.
Wow. Good times. Thank you so much for playing that game and rock with me. But now I got to ask you this. Before we get out of here, where can everyone find JoJo Knows' series? Where can they follow you? Where can they read up on the books? How can they help a kid in need? How can they give me money? Which one? Just help me out.
JoJoKnows.xyz. That's going to be our information base. We have a Kickstarter that just ended yesterday that didn't fund. Just kidding.
Welcome to the club.
Right, so we're starting up again for round 2. This time we're going to do basically the exact same thing and hope it works. No, I'm kidding. So we've got our Kickstarter campaign. I am on Instagram at Jovanna Michelle. I'm on TikTok at JoJo Knows series. And then on YouTube are all of the podcasts. We're streaming on Spotify with the podcast, Barnes and Noble for the books, Amazon for the books. Really, wherever, if you just go in on the internet and type in Jovanna, I'm starting to come up a little bit. I got a little SEO going. It's not a lot. I come up for this little CBS thing I did a couple of weeks ago. I got to do some local news. That's been doing really good. And then I come up on some YouTube stuff. So it's happening. It's right there.
It took me like 10 years, man. When the Flobots came out, oh, it was the worst. The worst. But not about me. Sorry. That's a big about me. But JoJo Knows a series. It's actually a series of books. More are on the way. Can you drop a little preview of what book is on the shelves next coming up?
Yes. So we're partnering with a very local big affiliate program that's in the greater Kansas City area. They work a lot with kids. When you grew up with them, you maybe had went to their club. I can't say their name, but you may have went to their club as a young male or female growing up. So this club is probably partnering with us to do some youth with the youth program. So that's going to be really exciting because we'll be able to implement the program on a massive level. So I think. Oh
boy. Oh, great. Jovanna, it's been fantastic. Thank you so much for rolling with us today. I know it's 2 a.m. now over there.
It doesn't feel like it, man. This feels awesome. I feel.
What is it? Because you're crestacular? Crepuscular? Crepuscular. That's why 2 o'clock feels like 8 p.m. or in my case, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, because after that, it's all downhill for me.
Can I say hi to the people in your chat? The ones that
yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, everybody. Thank you for asking the questions, and I appreciate you guys supporting Flobo and me. And this is really cool. I saw the little chat stuff come up, and I felt really inspired. There are people who care, who are listening. So thank you. You gave me some energy. So I appreciate it. You are my coffee today.
I wish it worked for me. I'll put comments all over my body. That's all it took for energy. But it's about high time we get out of here. We'll be back next week with a very special episode, The Dream Team, the people I started my comedy journey with. This has been Flobo. What's up, Flobo After Hours? JoJo Knows is the book series. Jovanna Schlossenberg is someone who is just doing it all over the country. And, well, as always, until next time, After Hours is closed. The